2 weeks ago, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed in my dark bedroom at 11:30 p.m. The only light in the room is the harsh, synthetic blue glow of my smartphone reflecting off my face. My thumb is moving on its own. It's an automatic, mechanical rhythm. Swipe, swipe, stop, swipe. I'm not even laughing at the videos. I'm not learning anything new. I actually feel a strange, dull ache in my chest, a hollow sensation. I thought to myself, just one more video, just one hit of something interesting, and then I'll finally be able to sleep. But then I look at the top corner of the screen, 1:15 a.m. Therefore, I realize I've lost 2 hours of my life to a piece of glass. But the weirdest part isn't that I stayed up late. It's that even though I just spent 2 hours consuming entertainment, I feel more miserable, more restless, and more anxious than I did when I first sat down. Most people think they're just lazy. They think they lack willpower. They think they have a character flaw. But they're wrong. Your brain has a biological dopamine baseline, a hidden set point for how much joy you can actually feel. And right now, you've accidentally set yours to 0. You are living in a dopamine debt, and today, we are going to learn how to rewire the wire. Understand your mind. Improve your life. To understand why you feel stuck, we need to understand a biological law called the homeostatic pulse. Imagine your brain's dopamine system is a mechanical balance scale, a mechanical seesaw. On one side, you have pleasure. On the other, you have pain. When you do something high dopamine, like checking a notification, eating a sugary snack, or seeing a like pop up on your screen, the scale tips toward pleasure. It feels great. You feel focused. You feel a rush of what David Phillips calls the angel's cocktail, a mix of dopamine and endorphins that makes you feel like you're winning. But the brain is a master of balance. It demands to be level. Therefore, the moment you get that high, your brain throws a heavy, leaden weight onto the pain side to bring the scale back down. Neuroscientists call this the opponent process theory. It's the brain's way of protecting you from overstimulation. But here is the catch that ruins your life. The weight on the pain side stays there much longer than the pleasure lasted. This is why after a long session of cheap dopamine, you don't just return to feeling normal. You feel irritable. You feel that itch for more. You are no longer scrolling because it's fun. You're scrolling because the pain side of the scale is currently dragging you into the dirt and you're desperate to get back to level. Let's zoom into a moment you know too well, one that happens in the trenches of your daily life. It's 9 a.m. You're at your desk. You have a massive project to do that requires deep, creative thinking. You open your laptop, you see the white screen and the cursor blinking at you. Blink, blink, blink. Immediately, you feel a surge of what I call the resistance. Your brain whispers, "This is too hard. This is boring. Let's just check the news for a second. Let's see if anyone replied to that email." But you check your email, and there's nothing urgent, so you feel a tiny bit of disappointment. But then you think, maybe I'll just check one Instagram reel. So you open the app. But then you see a reel of a guy doing a perfect backflip on a beach, so you feel a tiny spark of dopamine. Suddenly, 45 minutes have passed. Your coffee is cold. The cursor is still blinking, but now the work feels 10 times harder than it did 45 minutes ago. Why? Because you've tipped your seesaw toward pleasure so many times that the pain weights have piled up. Your brain has raised the price of focus. You have increased your dopamine baseline, meaning that the boring but important work of writing or thinking no longer provides enough dopamine to even move the scale. You are effectively colorblind to the joy of real effort. We are living in an era of supernormal stimuli. 100,000 years ago, our ancestors had to work for every drop of dopamine. Finding a berry bush was a huge win. Finishing a hunt was a massive reward. In the old world, dopamine was the reward for action. But in the new world, dopamine has become the reward for consumption. You are getting ancient rewards for modern laziness, and your neurochemistry wasn't designed for this. When you consume without acting, you are taking out a high-interest loan on your future happiness. You get the pleasure now, but you pay for it with a dopamine crash later that makes the rest of your day feel gray and uninspiring. Eventually, your baseline, that middle point of the seesaw, starts to sink deeper and deeper. This is why things that used to be fun, like reading a book or walking in nature, now feel boring. It's not the book that's boring, it's that your scale is so weighted down by pain that the book doesn't have the heft to tip it back toward pleasure. So, how do we rewire the wire? How do we fix the seesaw? We need to engage in the dopamine fast-forward protocol. You cannot use willpower to fight biology. If you try to just be more disciplined, you are drinking what David Phillips calls the devil's cocktail, high levels of cortisol and adrenaline. It makes you intolerant, irritable, and uncreative. Instead, we have to use biology to beat biology. Step 1. The 24-hour reset. You need to let the pain weights fall off the scale naturally. This requires a 24-hour period of low stimuli. No screens, no processed sugar, no cheap hits. You will feel a massive surge of boredom. But you must realize that boredom is not a problem to be solved. It is the feeling of your brain recalibrating its baseline. It is the sound of your seesaw coming back to level. Step 2. Increase the friction of consumption. We need to make it harder for your brain to steal dopamine. If you have to unlock your phone, open a hidden folder, and type a password to get to an app, you give your prefrontal cortex, the manager of your brain, exactly 3 seconds to wake up and ask, is this really what we want to do right now? You are moving from bottoms-up processing, subconscious reacting, to top-down processing, conscious deciding. Step 3. Move the goalposts. From now on, the rule for your life is action before consumption. You do not check your phone until you have moved your body or finished one deep work task. You are training your brain to remember that dopamine is a reward for effort, not a free handout. You are earning your joy instead of stealing it. Step 4. Seek low-drip dopamine. Instead of the flood of a vertical video feed, seek out activities that provide a slow, steady drip. Read a physical book. Walk in the park without headphones. Listen to the music of your own thoughts. These activities don't trigger the aggressive pain overcorrection that digital hits do. They allow the scale to stay balanced. Remember that character on the edge of the bed, the one from the beginning of this story? That person was me, and for a long time I thought I was broken. I thought I just didn't have what it takes to be productive. But once I understood the seesaw, once I understood that my laziness was actually just a biological response to overstimulation, everything changed. I stopped fighting myself and started managing my chemistry. Your brain isn't broken. It's just doing exactly what it was evolved to do. Maintain balance in an unbalanced world. Here is your last dab, the one thing I want you to take away today. Your ability to focus is your most valuable currency. Don't spend it on things that leave you feeling hollow. Tonight, when you reach for that phone, I want you to stop. I want you to feel the restlessness. I want you to look at the seesaw in your mind and choose to stay level. Understand your mind, improve your life. If this insight clicked for you, subscribe to Why We Wire. We're mapping the human behavior patterns that 99% of people ignore, so you can be part of the 1% who actually change. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.